Good morning and welcome to Sunday Kickoff. I am Fidel Barraza. Along with me today, Isaac Durham, Walter Stringer. Gentlemen, how are you?
Okay, once again for another Sunday of big games.
Should be a good one, Fidel. My Bears, your Raiders. Give me
Yeah,
a lot
we'll
of smack
see.
talk.
1 o'clock kickoff Pacific Standard Time, so we'll see what happens. All right. Before we start talking about the Sunday slate of games, let's go and talk about Thursday night's football game. The Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. Rams won the contest 26-17. But the biggest storyline out of the game was that Russell Wilson broke his middle finger. It looked pretty bad. He got surgery. Report came out Friday morning that he was going to be out about 5 to 7 weeks. Adam Schefter actually reported this morning that it might be more than likely just 4 weeks instead of the longer time period, which is good news for Seattle Seahawks fans. But what's not good news is that your starting quarterback now is Geno Smith. Thoughts, gentlemen?
It comes to a point in time where a coach has to earn his money. You can't always be tied to a Hall of Fame quarterback and get all the accolades and all the glory and not get pushed to a point at some point in time where the football gods will test what you know.
Well, and I'll give you credit because you said this since last year, since we started these shows about Pete Carroll. Like, hey, yeah, he's good, but he's got a Hall of Fame quarterback at his disposal, right? And you're like, what is Pete an actually good coach, or is it Russell Wilson that's doing the majority of the work?
Well, if we're going to be honest, Pete had a very good era of football. Can't really say much about Pete prior to the Legion of Boom era, but that era of football was very, very strong for him. And like I said, being tied to a Hall of Fame quarterback through that era and post that era, post the Matt Hasselbeck era, he's been tied to some greatness. So it's time to see if he can really coach.
Yeah, we were talking on your show, Walt, that we were talking about Russell Wilson and, is he better than some of the guys in the league right now? Will he be a future Hall of Famer? And one of the things we brought up was this guy doesn't miss any time. Well, this is the first time we're going to see Wilson off the field throughout his career. I mean, he's had a bad offensive line all throughout, and he's like Superman. He just doesn't ever, miss any time. And we saw it. He had that broken finger on the sideline, still trying to find a way to get into the game.
Yeah.
But, before the season, I thought, the Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals, 49ers, all these teams are just going to beat up on each other. They're all great. That division is tough. One of my bold predictions is that, later in the day, Trey Lance and the 49ers take down the undefeated Cardinals. And I think we'll see a lot of these types of games throughout the year.
Whoa.
Wilson's injury. Yeah, I know. Bold prediction. Wilson's injury is a little bit of a concern because Seattle's they're 2-3 now.
Yeah.
So let's look at their schedule coming up. If Wilson misses 4 or 5 weeks, they play at Pittsburgh, host New Orleans, both on Sunday Night Football. And then, they got a Green Bay matchup after their bye week as well. So hopefully Wilson can come back before that Green Bay matchup. But I know, some Seattle fans are going, Geno Smith looked fine, a replacement. But, with opposing teams now scouting him as the starting quarterback, I don't know how this team will look. And, Chris Carson, their starting running back, is out as well. So I'm a little bit concerned about this team going forward. If they can return Wilson with like a 4-4 record, I think they could be all right. But, some of those games are not gimmies, and they need to capitalize.
Well, I mean, I think the thing that helps him is that the Niners are dealing with some injury as well, right? I mean, besides besides the Cardinals, I don't think there's another team in the division that's dealing with the injuries as much.
Yeah, but the thing about that is I think this division is going to get 2 teams in. I'm pretty sure it's going to get 2 teams in. So if you're not one of those top 2 teams, you're on the outside looking in anyway. And if we go back to the Thursday night game, I thought Stafford played pretty well. He did a great job of managing the game. He did a great job of taking the chunk plays. Those chunk plays were there. But the Rams still have their concerns on defense. They give up a ton of yards. They don't give up a lot of passing touchdowns, but they give up a ton of yards. They're currently 31st in the league in plays per drive and 28th in time of possession. So I don't know how long you can expect to keep just taking that bend but don't break approach and hoping that teams get inside the 20 and just implode, because you're going to lose some of those opportunities. The offense wins some, the defense wins some. So My fear for the Rams is when the offense isn't really clicking on that one given Sunday in January or even February for that matter. Can the defense continuously play bend but don't break and keep offenses out of the end zone inside the 20?
Yeah, excellent point. And then also we actually have some live action going on right now in London. Jets versus Falcons. Falcons are dominating right now, 20-3, with about 13 minutes remaining in the third quarter.
Oh,
yeah, obviously
that's,
the Jets.
Jets are in the red zone though.
That's the Falcons are putting it together. That's terrible news for my Lions, December 26th.
Yeah, and of course the Jets coming off that victory last weekend against the Tennessee Titans in overtime, which I mean was shocking to me because I mean Tennessee, you're a playoff team. You want to be a serious contender, and I know you dealt with the injuries as well last week with your two starting wide receivers being out, but you cannot lose to the Jets.
Yeah, Zach's impressive though. He's impressive.
Not in this one though.
Well,
5 for 13, 42 yards and a pick.
Yeah, well.
Maybe the jet lag got to him. Not too sure what's going on there. All right. As far as injuries goes, guys, I mean, there's quite a few players that are going to be out today. So, I mean, obviously Calvin Ridley was out, and also Russell Gage. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be out. George Kittle, he's on IR. Julio Jones, Rob Gronkowski, Deshaun Watson, Logan Thomas, Jair Alexander, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Lane Johnson, David Montgomery, Damon Arnett, and Trayvon Mullen.
Hey, can I touch on something right quick with that?
Big names.
So Jair's on IR. How huge is that for Green Bay?
That's huge.
Yeah.
Best defensive player they got.
Who do they go out and trade for? Because this is Aaron's last season there, so you got to go all out. So who do they go out and trade for?
Well, I don't think they traded for anybody.
Traded for all the good ones already.
But I don't think they're going to trade for anyone. But they did sign someone off the Arizona Cardinals practice squad. The name is escaping me. They were in the run for Stephon Gilmore, but then he got traded to Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina. They're just glutton. They're holding all the corners.
Well, and then since we're on that subject, what do you guys think about that trade?
Well, I mean, they were going to drop him anyways, and then Carolina came in and made sure that they would get him because if he hit waivers, it looked like they were too far down the ladder to even be in the running for him. So they threw in a 6th-round pick, and they got him. So, I mean, they pretty much waited until the end. No one offered a trade, and they just made sure they got him. So it was pretty smart on their end.
Yeah, I think it's great for Carolina. How can you ever knock helping out one side of the ball even more? C.J. Henderson, he's behind the defense right now. J.C. Horn is going to be gone for an extended period of time, even longer than what he's already been gone. You got Dante Jackson there, and I think Gilmore fits right into that cover 3 zone and what they like to run in Carolina. So it fits. It works. I don't think he makes them that much better considering the fact that their problem is offensively, if they don't have Christian McCaffrey, what are you going to do when you fall behind to a team like Tampa, or you fall behind to a team like Arizona, or you fall behind to a team like Dallas, who can get points in bunches, and you can't survive that 24-3 quarter or that 21-0 quarter because those type of teams have the ability, the Kansas City Chiefs as well, they have the ability to hit you over the head with a mallet in one quarter. They may play poorly for the other 3 quarters, but that 24-point second quarter or that 17-point fourth quarter playing those type of teams can be the difference between a win and a loss. And I'm not sure if Sam Darnold is built for that right now.
And we do have a score update. Jets scored a touchdown, missed the extra point, hit the left upright. So score now is 20-9.
Ty Johnson on the rushing touchdown.
Ty Johnson.
For all you Michael Carter fantasy guys out there. So.
Oh yeah.
That kind of hurt. All right. Biggest storyline for week 5.
Oh, all right. I'll start with this one. The biggest storyline to me is the 5 rookie quarterbacks drafted in the first round, all being named starters for week 5 for the first time this year. Trevor Lawrence takes on the Titans. Zach Wilson's playing right now against the Falcons in London. Trey Lance is making his first career start. I already told you what I thought he was going to do today. So he's taking on those undefeated Cardinals, the only undefeated team left in the league. Justin Fields is making his 3rd start against Fidel's Raiders. and Mac Jones is taking on an abysmal Houston Texans team. So I think it's pretty cool to see all 5 of these, starting all at once right now for the first time this year. There was a lot of, hype going into this year about all 5 of these players. So we'll see how they perform today. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's great. So I think most of us had those guys all starting probably by week 5 or after week 5 anyway. So yeah, to me, it's Arizona Cardinals today with a chance to go 5-0 in the NFC West with wins over with wins over the Rams and 49ers, both under their belts before mid-October. You look at the rest of the Cardinal schedule, if they were able to pull off that win today, they've got a visit to Cleveland next week. Then they're looking at going back home with games against the Texans and Green Bay Packers, 2 secondaries they should be able to handle pretty much with ease. So before they have that November 7th matchup at San Francisco. So we really don't know what the 49ers are going to look like, but Cardinals, if they can win today at home against San Francisco, they have a chance to almost run the table and wrap that division up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Isaac's storyline as well, as far as the rookie quarterback starting, obviously all in very different situations. That's interesting though, Isaac. I guess that's your bold prediction for today, right? That the Niners are gonna go to Arizona and beat the Cardinals.
It's just like I've seen this Cardinals team beat down on teams in the past, like last year, games they probably shouldn't have won and they pulled off, and then I've seen them, chance to secure a playoff spot and just totally take a crap. So. I don't know if I fully believe in them yet. They've had a couple of games where they really shouldn't have won, like that Jacksonville game. We've seen them, show their true colors at some points. And I don't know. Like, if they win this, then I'll start to believe in them a little bit more. But it's so early that I could see, Kyle Shanahan developing a game plan against them and taking them down.
I think what really hurts them is George Kittle being out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Does.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be huge for them. If George was playing, then I would have, agree with you a little bit more, just because one of the best tight ends in the NFL going against the division rival.
He's been a little shaky this season so far, though.
He has, but I would say the whole team has a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think him being out is huge for Trey Lance.
Yeah.
The toughest thing to do for a young quarterback is to ask him to step in and attack the perimeter. Yeah. You want him to be able to attack the seams in the middle of the field when there's open. You want to give him a security blanket, and he doesn't have that now. So
this is pretty interesting. So I just got an alert. So Carr to wait on contract talks. Raiders quarterback does not plan to negotiate a contract extension with the team during the 2021 season. Now, the reason why this is very interesting is because he probably knows that there's a couple teams out there that will, pay him or give him the bag, I guess you can say, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
how do you feel about that?
He should. He's been disrespected. I mean, to me, a lot by this organization.
There's one team for sure. They currently don't have a name. They're just football team.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, yeah, they would love him. I mean, we'll see. That's interesting that I just popped up. So, and that tells me that Mayock had already tried to talk contract extension with them. Let's say, hey, no, we're gonna wait. So, hey, man, so good for Carr, trying to get paid again, one last time. All right, best matchup in Week 5.
I know a bunch of people are excited about that Bills-Chiefs matchup, as I am as well. But I think the best game for today is the Chargers-Browns.
Oh yeah,
agreed.
LA, wins those games where it turns into kind of shootouts, high-scoring affairs. But their one loss this season came against Dallas in a game that was, slowed down, so they didn't play the type of game that they wanted to. And Cleveland's gonna, attack that kind of idea today. They love to play slow, control time of possession, and wear you out. So, that's what they're going to do today against that Chargers team. And I want to see how Herbert and the Chargers react to that. The Chargers do have home field advantage, so I think they can squeak out a win, but I don't know. That's the game that I'm most looking forward to today, besides the Bears-Raiders, of course.
Okay. Well, since Isaac had my biggest matchup, I'm going to take the same game that I had, but I'm going to go to a matchup within the game, and that's going to be rookie Rashawn Slater versus Myles Garrett.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, long day for the rookie.
Slater. Well, currently Slater looks like the best rookie in football. He's been dominating pretty much everybody, but Myles Garrett is a different animal. I
Yep.
think what's going to happen is because the Chargers ran the ball pretty well last week against the Raiders. I don't think they'll be able to run the ball as well this week against the Browns, which means pass protection is going to be paramount in keeping Justin upright. So, like I said, I'm going to keep my eyes on Slater. Slater's a big, mean, tough, physical, strong, aggressive offensive lineman. And Garrett is the same on defense. If he can keep Myles Garrett at bay, the Chargers, I believe, have a chance. But I think the Browns will be able to run the ball too well today.
Yeah, I love that matchup, Browns-Chargers. I just think the Browns are going to go in there and they're going to beat the Chargers. And as far as the home field advantage,
No, you don't. You're hoping that happens.
Yeah.
no, I think that's going to happen. The Browns are good. And hey, man, hopefully OBJ, man, get some catches, get some touchdowns, man. You're hurting my fantasy football team.
Well, listen. While we're talking about the Browns, Baker hasn't been all that great this year.
No.
Well, now and then it came out that he's got an injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
got a labrum issue.
That passing game just doesn't look right whenever Odell is in there. You know.
So what do you suggest? They bench him?
No, I mean you got to play him. He's your only chance you really stand of having an opportunity to even contend with Kansas City. Because
Juice is still out, right? Juice is out another 2 weeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, I've said it numerous times. Like, if you can't offensively get 30 or more against the Chiefs, you have a problem. You can't really beat the Chiefs until it can be the numbers prove it. You can't really beat the Chiefs in Mahomes scoring under 30. Mm-hmm. You have to get 30 plus. And the Browns, they do everything else well. They defend the pass well. They stop the run. They have a great offensive line. They have the best running game in football, pretty much. They're not explosive enough in the passing game.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the key to victory for the Browns is you got to establish that run early and often. You got Hunt, you got Chubb, two of the best running backs in the game. Run the ball. And that's where the Raiders messed up last week, was that they started off slow. And, you know, it finally caught up to them. And Chargers beat them like that. So, to me, if you're the Browns, you got to establish that running game early and often. All right, now let's throw to Isaac to give us our Week 5 fantasy football advice. Isaac, what you got?
All right, let's start out with the quarterbacks. Stardoms. Kirk Cousins against the Detroit Lions. Sorry, Walt. Cousins was held in check last week against a solid Cleveland Browns defense. Before then, he posted 3 straight 22-plus point performances. He's currently the quarterback 12, and he takes on a Lions defense that had a hard time slowing down the Chicago Bears last week. Expect Minnesota to throw a ton in this game as Dalvin Cook is nursing an ankle injury. Other notables, Tom Brady against Miami, Joe Burrow against the Packers, and Ryan Tannehill against the Jaguars. For the sits, Baker Mayfield against the Chargers. Let's face it, Mayfield isn't fantasy relevant in bad matchups, so he's got a tough one against that Chargers team today. He struggles against teams above 500. The Chargers held Derek Carr to only 14.5 fantasy points last week, and they're allowing the 4th fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks this season. Expect Cleveland to emphasize the running game a ton against Los Angeles this week, and it's kind of hard to trust a player who has yet to surpass the 20-point mark in a game through 4 weeks. I'm also sitting Taylor Heineke against New Orleans, Trey Lance against the Cardinals, even though I think he's going to take them down, Jared Goff against the Vikings, and Ben Roethlisberger against the Broncos. For running backs, I'm starting Damian Williams of the Bears against the Raiders. Montgomery is expected to miss 4 to 5 weeks with a knee injury. So this makes Williams one of the top running backs added entering this week, and he draws a pretty good matchup against Las Vegas. The Raiders are allowing an average of 25.2 combined fantasy points to running backs each week. With Williams set to take on a huge workload, he should be an easy start for your fantasy teams. I'm also starting Chuba Hubbard of the Panthers since McCaffrey's doubtful to play against the Eagles. Chase Edmonds against the 49ers. Actually, I'm not starting him anymore. There was some injury problems with him. But Josh Jacobs is a go, right, Fidel? So I'd put him in against the Bears because Peyton Barber's out. Right?
Well, he's questionable. So he's got mild turf toe, so he still might play. I didn't see him on the out report yet. But Josh doesn't look right still. I mean, I honestly, I have him on my team. I just don't know how much I'm going to get out of him.
The Bears are they're going to play today without Akeem, so I think that's big. I think the Raiders will be able to run on this Bears defense today. As far as the sit-ems go, Myles Gaskin against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, the turn of events for the Gas Man this season has been crazy. Through 4 weeks, he's produced just 32 fantasy points in PPR leagues. His fantasy production shouldn't improve much this week as he takes on the top run defense in the league. Tampa Bay held New England at -1 yards last week. So, and it also helps that it also doesn't help Gaskin that Malcolm Brown has outcarried him in each of the last 2 games. I'm also sitting Mark Ingram against New England, Melvin Gordon against the Steelers, and Trey Sermon against the Cardinals. For wide receivers, I like Laviska Shenault Jr. against the Tennessee Titans. You should be able to throw him in your flex spot this week against one of the worst defenses in football. The Jets receivers had their way last week against the Titans. Corey Davis and Jamison Crowder combined for 40.2 PPR points against them. And even if Marvin Jones Jr. shines as the team wide receiver 1, the absence of DJ Chark should open up plenty of opportunities for the second-year wideout. And he's coming off a pretty decent performance last week where he turned 7 targets into 6 receptions for 99 yards and 17 PPR points. Other notables, Hunter Renfrow against the Bears, Darnell Mooney against the Raiders, and Antonio Brown against the Dolphins. Sit-ems, Juju Smith-Schuster against the Broncos. Smith-Schuster and the Steelers' offense has underperformed all season with the regression of Ben Roethlisberger, even though he kind of played like that last season. But outside Deontay Johnson and Najee Harris, there aren't any Pittsburgh Steelers I'm willing to start this week. Denver's defense has quietly been one of the top defenses against the pass during the first 4 weeks of the season. And I wouldn't be surprised if Smith-Schuster fell short of double-digit points for the 4th time in 5 games. He's also dealing with a rib injury that limited his participation in practice earlier this week. Rondale Moore, I'm sitting against 49ers, Brandon Ayuk against the Cardinals, and Henry Ruggs against the Bears. I still don't believe in Ruggs, Fidel. If he doesn't have that big play in a game, he's really, he's not really relevant in fantasy.
Well, I mean, that's what he is, though. He's the one, he's just going to run a streak. And then hopefully Derek can find him out there.
He's more than that. Nick Saban had him.
Well, I should say so far.
If he doesn't have that big play, he doesn't do much in fantasy, and he's hard to start.
Well, look, last week he had a couple catches he should have made. I think there were slant routes, in routes that he should have caught, but he dropped. Don't give up on him.
I mean, I'm not saying cut him. I'm just saying don't start him until we see more, consistent play from him. The target's been going up, but if you take away those big deep plays, he just doesn't provide enough to throw him in your starting lineup.
Look, a couple weeks ago, I think I said it on the show that he was going to have 3 catches for over 100 yards and a touchdown, which he did. And I'm going to go in and call that again today. I believe we'll have 4 catches, 115 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, Eddie Jackson's not the same safety anymore, so
yeah,
I could see him getting burnt. All right, tight ends real quick. Dawson Knox against the Chiefs. Although I don't totally buy into Knox being a top 10 tight end on a weekly basis, you can't deny his presence inside the red zone as of late. In the past 3 weeks combined, Josh Allen has connected with him for 4 receiving touchdowns. This Bills-Chiefs matchup should turn into a high-scoring affair, and Knox should see plenty of targets. It also helps that Kansas City is allowing the 4th most fantasy points to the tight end position throughout the season so far. Dalton Schultz against the Giants is a plug-and-play. Dallas Goedert against the Panthers, Mike Gesicki against the Buccaneers, and Hunter Henry against the Houston Texans. For sit-ems, Max Williams of the Cardinals against the 49ers. I know that he's topped 16 PPR points twice in 4 games, but he's yet to put together back-to-back great performances. So if you look at the pattern, Williams should have an off week this week as he posted 17.6 last week. Until he can prove to be more consistent, there's no way that I'm willing to throw him in my starting lineup just yet. Robert Tonyan has really, been poor this season, so go ahead and sit him against the Bengals, Jared Cook against the Browns, and CJ Uzomah against the Packers. For defenses, the obvious one, New England Patriots taking on the Houston Texans. Houston posted a giant goose egg last week against Buffalo, losing 0-40. Rookie Davis Mills threw 4 interceptions, and we all know how Bill Belichick plays against how he coaches against rookie quarterbacks. The last time we saw New England's defense line up against a rookie quarterback was Zach Wilson in week 2, and they picked him off 4 times. So do I hear 5 this week? I don't know.
And then also just a quick note, Dalvin Cook is officially out for today's game.
Okay. Yeah, they said he was a true game time decision. So, I mean, that's even more reason to throw Kirk in there in your starting lineup, even though Madison has played well in his absence.
I'm predicting a high-scoring affair in Detroit. I believe that's where they're playing, right?
Nope. Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I still think it'll be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I think so as well. All right, Isaac, thank you for that. All right, bold predictions for Week 5.
I said it earlier. Trey Lance and the 49ers hand Arizona their first loss of the season.
That's not bad.
I don't know how bold this is, but Buffalo goes into Kansas City and beats the Chiefs.
That's possible. I'm going to take the Bengals over the Packers. I think this is going to be sort of a signature win for Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, as well as Zach Taylor and their era of football. I just think Green Bay's too beat up right now in that secondary. Joe Burrow,
see it.
Yeah, Burrow. He's clicking with Boyd. He's clicking with Jamar Chase. They're able to keep Joe Mixon upright. They can keep him. I think Mixon pretty much is the key to Joe Burrow's success. If they can keep him healthy and keep that running game going, Joe's going to be better. Everything's going to be better for them on the perimeter. So, yeah, I'm taking the Bengals to beat the Packers.
Higgins is back this week, correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a big one as well. I could see that. And if Cincinnati starts 4-1, that one loss to Chicago makes us look a little better.
A little bit, not too much better though.
A little better. We made Joe Burrow look silly. But go ahead.
All right. Lock to win.
Here's an easy one. Patriots over the Texans.
Oh, don't do that.
I should have said the bold prediction. I should have said the bold prediction is Davis Mills throws 4 picks again this week, back-to-back weeks, if he doesn't get benched.
New England's offensive line, I believe, might be missing 4 other guys. I might be mistaken, but I know Trent Brown's for sure out. Cannon's out, I believe, as well. I saw that earlier, so I'm not too sure how true that is, but
I don't care.
Hey man, Texas, I mean, they're bad, but I mean, is New England that good?
I don't care. New England could have 0 yards on offense. They will still win that game.
All right, fair enough.
Have you seen Houston and Davis Mills on offense? It's atrocious.
Great.
Hey, now wait a minute. Mills throws a pretty football. He does throw a pretty football now.
He does.
But that's all I can say.
And he's got a giant neck, and that's about it.
You're right. And his shoulder pads are damn near at the middle of his his rib cage.
It's like Mike Glennon 2.0.
Yeah. Hey, so my lock of the week, I'm going to take the Bucs over the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins, even though Tampa is beat up in the secondary, Miami doesn't do enough offensively and through the air to even take advantage of it. I think it's going to be an ugly game, though, because Miami is still pretty solid in the secondary. They've been struggling against the run a little bit. But I think Tampa will do just enough. It'll be sort of an ugly game. And Jacoby Brissett and the Miami Dolphin offense just won't be able to do enough on another Sunday. And the Bucs will get that game.
Especially with, Will Fuller being out, and then Waddle and Devontae Parker, they have injury problems in the cell. I think they're both going to play, but that's why I threw Mike Gesicki in there, just because he's like the only target that's healthy going into this game.
Well, that's the thing. What do the Dolphins do? Like, what if the wheels completely fall off this thing in Miami?
They will.
Yeah, I think their season's already over.
Yeah.
Man, boy. That window can close extremely quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's already closed for him, man.
Well, hey.
To me, what the rest of the season is Tua your guy? Or do you have to go out there and sign a free agent quarterback next year or draft a quarterback?
I think all 3 of us were on the same page in saying at the draft they probably should have taken Fields at that pick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Not to say they would be better with Fields. We don't know how great Fields are going to be either. But I think if you put Fields with that team, he's in a better situation in Miami than what he is in Chicago currently right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my lock to win, I'll take the Bucs over the Dolphins as well. Yeah, Bucks obviously coming off that big win against the New England Patriots last night. So I think the Bucks continue to whirl. All right, gentlemen. Any final thoughts before we end the show today?
What do the Bills do on Monday night? Not Monday night, but what do the Bills do tonight to pull this off? Because you look at them statistically against Kansas City, they have no answer. They overcompensate for Tyreek Hill, and while they overcompensate for Tyreek Hill, they allow Travis Kelce to put up Hall of Fame numbers each and every game. So, how do they possibly defend this team and get over 30? They wasn't able to get over 30 either game last year.
You're gonna say run the football? Ah, you can't tell Buffalo to do that. They ain't gonna
run
do
the football. Come on,
they're not gonna do it.
Look,
McDermott's not
what
going to
happened
do it.
last year, though. I mean, my deal was when they played the Chiefs last year, they never established throwing at all besides Josh Allen. So Kansas City knew that they had to pass.
But
you got to run the football.
But that's their identity. Do you expect?
But is that a winning identity though? Is that going to get them over the hump?
No. I think they should be undefeated right now. They should have beaten Pittsburgh in Week 1.
You know what? I'm going to make another bold prediction real quick. Zach Moss rushes for over 100 yards.
Oh. Well, the thing is this. What if the Chiefs have one of those mallet over the head quarters where the Bills find themselves down 21-6?
Well, you can't let them. Quarter. I mean, it hasn't happened this year, has it? For the Chiefs?
Oh, for the Chiefs, they've had a monster quarter.
Against the Eagles?
Monster quarters. Well, who else? They're still 2-2.
Cleveland, they had a monster.
Oh quarter. Yeah, Week 1.
You know,
I think for the Bills to win this game, they got to win that coin toss at the beginning. They got to take the ball first, and they got to start out. And they got to start out with a lead, and then after that, I hope they emphasize the run because I think their defense can slow down Mahomes enough to a couple possessions in the game, get them off the field, and just if you have that lead, just keep it. Just play safe and run the ball. I know they're not going to do it, but control time of possession, win the turnover battle.
That's the way they always attempt to play Kansas City. They played.
But I'm saying it starts out with the first possession of the game. If they start out down 7-0, I don't know. It's going to be one of those games where they're going to play into Kansas City's type of game, and that's not how you should attack it. But
it's crazy.
They'll fall for the trap.
I said, they're the only teams I believe that can actually beat Kansas City are both in the NFC, or maybe all three all in the NFC. I don't think anyone is offensively built to handle Kansas City. The Browns aren't really built that way. They have the best chance if they can get Landry back and they can get Baker and Odell on the same page. But Baltimore isn't built to beat them. That's why they barely beat them. That was pretty much their Buster Douglas moment earlier in the season. But they're not really going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs straight up. It's
LA shouldn't have beat them.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Arizona Cardinals, maybe the Rams, maybe the Buccaneers.
I think all three of those. I'd love to see that.
Cardinals, Chiefs.
Yeah, but I mean, look, you got to spend every second of that game clock. The longer Mahomes stays on sidelines, the best for your team, and I think that's going to be the key to victory for Buffalo.
McDermott's not going to do it.
No,
he's not going to do it.
Buffalo wins tonight.
Oh,
well,
I'm just saying.
Well, let me ask you this: how big of a game do they need from Stephon Diggs? Because I think they're going to need him tonight also.
I mean, is Kansas City's defense going to allow him to have a big game, though?
I mean, I think they got the guys around in that wide receiver room that they don't need to have a huge game from him. I could see this as a Cole Beasley type of game, someone that they kind of overlook running the slot. Like I said before, Dawson Knox has been a huge threat in the red zone lately. Emmanuel Sanders has had his games. Gabriel Davis has been pretty quiet this season. Maybe he comes out, but I think they have enough weapons to where they don't have to solely rely on Diggs.
Yeah, I think Gabriel Davis, can be in store for a big game tonight as well. All right, and with that being said, thank you everyone out there for watching. We're going to transition to Instagram Live. We're going to go over some game lines for today's games. Thank you everyone out there for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon on IG. Make sure you guys follow us. See ya.
See ya.